Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're answering another Freshservice forum question about reassigning tickets to the specific customer when they've come in. So the question that was I need to know how to change the to email. The use case is that we have forwarded messages from our website through Shopify, and when we receive it, it shows as being sent from the mailer at Shopify, and when I reply, it goes to mailer at Shopify. How do I make it send to the customer's email instead? So let's just have a little demo of how that works. So if you just pretend that my email address here is my mailer at Shopify, just to simulate this happening. So you can see we've simulated the email coming in. You have a new website inquiry from John Doe. This is John Doe's email. Hey, I'm interested in purchasing this product from your Shopify website. And rather than this coming in and being associated with my Shopify mailer, which I am imitating for the time being, then we want to actually have that automatically move to John Doe. And you can see there's our workflow working. So our workflow has run in the background and it has said, change the incoming email inquiry to customer. And that has posted it to John Doe. So what we're going to do for the next 10 minutes is talk through how that works, how you might want to implement it in your own Freshservice, and maybe it'll give you some inspiration to something else. So how we've done that today, and the original post did not give us the email template format. So I've made some assumptions just on what the body of that might look like, and have put that in square parentheses just because it makes it easier to extract out. I would suggest having a really clear delimiter around that email address because the message body that comes from the customer could have anything in it, and it makes it really difficult to extract otherwise. So if you've got that real clear square brackets, it's a lot easier to do. So our workflow. So our workflow operates when a ticket is raised by anyone. Our conditions are that it comes from, in this case, our fake mailer. So that's my business address, and starts with the new website inquiry. Obviously, you would adapt that to whatever you need it to be from whatever system you're getting your emails from, and then whatever website inquiry subject that you're getting, because obviously you might have other emails coming from that same address, particularly for Shopify, that aren't that type of query that you want to keep track of. So what we're first going to do is extract the customer's email. So we're using liquid filters here to say from the ticket description. So this is our ticket description. What we need to do is split on the last square parentheses and split on the first square parentheses in terms of our boundary, and then strip that down to take any spaces away. So if I just show you that working, I'm just going to copy this real quick, paste that in there. We can see that then returns our, in this case, John Doe email address. So for this particular use case, the requester needs to already exist. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take that email address, and using our API, we can actually search for that requester by their email address. So here you can see this is my endpoint. I'm using a get, and I'm saying, rather than saying get the ID of the requester, because obviously I don't know what that is yet because I've just been passed a text string with the email address in, I'm going to say query that field primary email, which is mandatory. We have to have that, or a telephone number, whatever it is that you're using. And the syntax for that is speech marks, primary email, space, so %27, the result of our expression, which will give us our email address, then another space, then another speech mark. And if I now, let me just delete this out of here, which would be John Doe, at example.com as our example. It's now going to go look that up. Now, because this was the one I used in my example, you'll see that it has gone and indeed searched for John Doe, and it will have pulled back John Doe's email address. Sorry, not email address, ID number, which is what we're going to need. Now, if I put Jane Doe in here with my other example, it's not going to find anything because I do not have a Jane Doe in my system at the moment. And that's really important for depending on how we're going to handle this separately. So obviously requesters, no details come back. So what we do then is we get that request, we pass that through, and then we have updated the ID here, this is a really nifty trick, like generally, if you didn't know this. So typically this would be array of strings. We've changed this to number and this from asterisk to 0, because then that just gives us a single number passing through, not multiples. So that's quite a nifty trick generally if you just want the highest number in that array. It's not a perfect solution, but it does allow you to a little bit more flexibility without having to strip things out and stuff. So we've switched that from array of strings to number and changed that number in the square bracket or the character from a star to a 0 to give us the first record back in that array. What we're then doing is looking at our requesters, and we're making our requester ID field. So we've extracted the email, we've looked it up, we're now checking to see, is that blank or is there a number in there? So and that's what this is doing here. If it has a number in it, we're just going to go straight to updating the ticket because we already know who that person is. They already have an ID. They have a customer record with us. So here you can see we just go endpoint put to ticket and our requester's ID numeric. Sorry, our ticket ID numeric is really important here. It's really frustrating that the placeholder will just give you ticket ID. You need to add underscore numeric in there to update my ticket. My credentials are saved. And then my payload is really simple. I'm just going to say requester ID is the output of that parser because I looked it up, I passed it, I've already got the ID, it's done. And we're going to check that it was successful. If it isn't, I'm going to post a note to the ticket to say, hey, the system failed to update the customer on the ticket. Please update it manually. And if it was successful, we're not going to make a song and dance about it in this particular case. We're just going to have the system doing it. It doesn't need to be too chatty for our agents. Now, if our requester did not exist, so when we went and searched for our requester, we searched for Jane Doe at example.com. We get no result. So we need to add Jane Doe to our system so that we can then tag Jane Doe to our ticket. So what we're going to do next is we're going to extract the full name of the customer out. So we're going to split customer name at customer name and customer email because that in our body is where it is. That is going to give us the full name of the customer. So if I just give you the example there, you can see obviously it's John because I copied it. If I change this over, then we can make that to Jane if we wanted to, just to be consistent in our example. There we go, Jane Doe. We're then going to split the first name. So the result of that one was Jane Doe. There you go. We're going to split the last one. And then E3 was also Jane Doe. There we go. It's going to give us Doe. We actually want that to be 3, not 4. There you go. Bug fixing as we go. So our post to create our request record is super simple. We've got first name, which is E4. Last name is E5. They're in speech marks because they're text. And then email, which was E1, which we calculated in the beginning. And that will give us a really basic customer record. Now, obviously, you can add whatever you want in there if you've got more fields or more information. But just for the purpose of this example, so here we can go Jane Doe at example.com. And we can see that's now active and running and ready to go. And then our update customer creds would then take our ticket ID numeric and then have our requester ID as the parser of that webhook we just did. So we just ran that webhook, we got a payload out, we've run it through here. Again, we have changed this to number rather than array of strings, make it nice and clean when we pass it through, and then update customer credentials on the ticket. And there we go, and that'll be requester ID. And then we check it again, make sure it was successful. If it's successful, we're not going to do anything because we're going to see that Jane's name's on the ticket. And if it fails, then we're going to tell the agent to go do something else and intervene manually. And that's it. It's a little bit more convoluted than you might think, but that should give you a real complete way of doing it, making sure that we're handling both existing and non-existing customers and we're keeping it consistent throughout. So if there's as ever any questions or any other comments or any other questions anyone's got about how to do stuff in Fresh, we're here at Zest to provide that consultancy service, training, or even just, someone to stand there and rub a duck with. And I appreciate you watching today, and hopefully you found that helpful. So thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest features and tutorials. If you or your organization need help with Freshservice, check out our consulting, implementation, training and support services at our website. zestco.uk. Zest, a fresh perspective.